Welcome to Timeless Bible Story, where we bring powerful biblical stories to life. Today we explore a lesser-known but intriguing character from the Bible, Noadiah. Unlike many of the great prophets of God, Noadiah stood in opposition to God's will, attempting to hinder his divine work. What can we learn from her actions, and how does her story fit into the grand biblical narrative? Stay with us as we uncover the role of Noadiah in history. Our story takes place during a time of great restoration. The Israelites had returned from exile in Babylon, and under the leadership of Nehemiah, they had set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. It was a mission from God to restore security and faith to a broken nation. But not everyone wanted to see Jerusalem restored. There were enemies, both external and internal, who opposed this work. Among those who resisted the rebuilding was a prophetess named Noadiah. While the Bible does not provide extensive details about her background, one thing is clear: she stood against Nehemiah and the work of the Lord. Unlike faithful prophetesses such as Deborah and Huldah, who delivered God's messages, Noadiah was different. She was a false prophet, one who sought to intimidate and mislead Nehemiah through fear and deception. Nehemiah himself mentions her in his writings, saying, "Remember also the prophetess Noadiah and the rest of the prophets who were trying to intimidate me." Nehemiah 6:14. Noadiah was not alone in her opposition. She worked alongside other false prophets who had been bribed and influenced by Nehemiah's enemies, including Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem. These men were determined to stop the reconstruction of Jerusalem's walls by any means necessary. One of the most dangerous tactics used against Nehemiah was an attempt to frighten him into hiding. Noadiah and her fellow false prophets sought to undermine Nehemiah's confidence in his mission. They tried to deceive him into believing that his life was in grave danger, that he should flee and hide inside the temple for protection. But Nehemiah saw through their lies. He knew that a true leader of God does not act in fear, but in faith. Rather than succumbing to their threats, Nehemiah prayed, "Remember, O my God, all the evil deeds of Tobiah and Sanballat, and remember Noadiah the prophetess and all the other prophets like her who tried to intimidate me." Nehemiah 6:14. Throughout history, true prophets have always stood for righteousness and truth. False prophets, however, have sought to lead people astray, often for personal gain or political advantage. Noadiah's actions remind us of the danger of false teachers, those who claim to speak for God, but instead promote deception and fear. The Bible warns us about such individuals. But there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly introduce destructive heresies. Even though Noadiah and others opposed him, Nehemiah did not waver. He kept his eyes on the mission God had given him and completed the walls of Jerusalem in just 52 days. Noadiah's story is a warning about the dangers of deception and intimidation. Here are some key takeaways. 1. Discernment is crucial. Just because someone claims to speak for God doesn't mean they do. We must test everything against God's word. 2. Fear should not control us. Noadiah tried to make Nehemiah afraid, but he trusted in God instead of giving in to fear. 3. Stay focused on God's work. No matter the opposition, we must remain faithful to the mission God has given us. Noadiah was a false prophetess who tried to stop the work of God, but her efforts failed. The walls of Jerusalem were rebuilt, and Nehemiah's faithfulness prevailed. In every generation there will be those who oppose the truth. But like Nehemiah, we must stand strong, trust in God, and never be swayed by fear or deception. Thank you for watching Timeless Bible Story. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing Bible stories. Until next time, stay faithful, stay strong, and God bless you.